Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to a very special mini What's Up vlog. I'm not even going to number this one because it doesn't really work in the series of vlogs, but it's no less important because this is the introduction to the WKG Racing League Winter 1920 series, which kicks off on Saturday, 12th of October at 1:35 British summer time with what is now proven to be a disgustingly grueling time trial up the Bologna circuit on Zwift. What was I thinking? Anyway, I'm going to get straight into this. The main reason for this video is to explain the rules and setup of the league in general, mainly for those not familiar with it. We have plenty of newcomers, which is absolutely fantastic. So this will hopefully help you to understand exactly how we run things. And it's worth just refreshing that in the minds of our regular runners and riders. So, first off, the basics. It is a 20-stage series with a mixture of courses to cater for all abilities. There are some short, punchy, climby courses, flat crit type courses, long endurance races. So hopefully there's something for everybody there. And over the course of the 20 stages, should balance out to suit everybody's abilities across the board. You will need to complete at least 12 of those stages to take your place in the final reckoning, the final league table. And your accumulated points for your best 15 performances will determine your final position on that table. Same system we've used for previous races. 20 points for first, 18 for second, 16 for third, and then diminishing by 1 point all the way down to 17th, who picks up 2 points. And then for anybody else that completes the stage, they get a point just for the efforts of actually completing it. There are some bonus point stages in there just to reward the specific commitment and effort that's required. For example, the 111, which is, anybody familiar with this will know, an absolute of a race. We're doing the 4 Horsemen as well at some point in this series, so I think you guys deserve extra points if you can get to the end of those ones. In addition to that, there will actually be a surprise random prize giving at any particular point during this. Not necessarily for exceptional performances in those particularly challenging races, but for anything that I think stands out as being an exceptional gesture of goodwill, a particularly strong performance by a rider that's proving not to be a cheat, and yeah, just anything that warms my heart during the course of this series. There will be some random giveaways. It'll probably come as no surprise to you that it's likely to be bottles and socks, because I have an absolute crap ton of the things that I need to get out of the house. Mrs. Marcus Neal will be very grateful if a lot of you could win those so I can just clear some space in our bedroom. Right, that aside, let's move on. We will be using the 3-strike rule as with previous series. There is no perfect solution to this, again, given the nature of the courses that we ride. Some riders will excel at certain types and not so much on others. So there is no hard and fast way of doing this, so there will always be grey areas. The 3 strikes has proven to be the best for us over the last couple of series, so we're sticking with that. With a couple of slight differences. The first one being is that any races over 20 minutes in length will guarantee you a strike if you exceed your category limits, even by a small margin. We're going to be really rigid on that. The races under 20 minutes in length, we expect riders to exceed their category limits. The way you would pick up a strike in that is if it's by a ridiculous amount or not consistent with what everybody around you has done, if that makes sense. So if me, for example, put up a 3.4 watts per kilogram performance in one of the mini crits, but everybody else in the C category that's usually in and around me puts up similar performance, I won't get a strike. However, if I did manage to do a 3.4 watt per kilogram, I would give myself a strike just because I would be freaking delighted. On that subject, strikes are badges of honour. Please don't see it as a means of punishment. It really isn't. You should be striving for these. I know I will be. If I get 1 strike before the end of this season, I will retire a very happy man. So, shorter races, it's going to be taken on a race-by-race basis. The decision will be made by our incredible results team, Percy Santamaria, Jamie Woodward, John By The Way, who I will refer to as John By The Way and not John Bythway for this entire season, as long as I remember, and Peter Future Co Robinson. While I'm here, guys, absolute legends. I totally couldn't do this without you. This is what makes the league work. You guys helping out with things like this. Darren with his flyers, which are hilarious and brilliant. Anyway, I could go on about that, but so many people have come in with help and advice and guidance, and everybody that contributes to this is as important as the next. And so yeah, their word is final. Anyway, if you get the 3 strikes, or when you get your 3 strikes, please wear it with pride. You'll be moved up to the next category and you'll carry over 50% of your accumulated points up to that stage. There is also an exception to that, the promotion strategy. Given that stage 1 is a time trial using the time trial module, it actually lends itself very well to trying to work out where everybody should be right from stage 1. So the way we're going to work it with that is based on times and not watts per kilogram. So once again, using myself as an example, I will start in category C. When I put up a finishing time that would put me solidly in the middle of a category B, I will instantly be promoted to category B, and the points I take will be based on where my time puts me in that category. I think that's probably the safest, simplest and most reliable way to try and settle things down right from the first race. There are no penalties involved. I'm expecting people not to know exactly where they should be from the start, so it would be wrong to try and penalise people with either points deductions or strikes based on the first race, especially given that it's a short, punchy 8-kilometre flat, boom kind of race. But the nature of that does mean it's actually quite a good representation of somebody's general fitness. So be prepared for an instant rejig from day 1 for your categories, hopefully meaning we'll go into the second stage with everybody a lot more settled with where they're going to be. Speaking of the categories, we are using the old basic ABCD system as shown here. The new Zwift Power setup doesn't quite work for the way the league goes, once again because of the varying nature of the courses. Some will excel on one course and not the other, and it's very difficult to try and categorise based on that. So the best way for you to know before we start which category you should be in, take a look at maybe your last 5 or 6 competitive events on Zwift, average out your 20-minute power for those 5 or 6 events, and that should put you bang into one of those categories. Again, it's not an exact science, and we are aware that mistakes will be made, legitimate mistakes, and certainly you're not going to be called out for cheating if you start off in a D and then win the Bs. You'll just be moved. So that's that on the strikes and promotions rules. Speaking of the time trials, this is going to be the first time for a lot using the time trial module in Zwift, and in fact it will only be my second time, but I can tell you it is incredibly simple and it just works really well. To answer a couple of the questions going into it, firstly, yes, you can use any bike you like because the drafting effect is disabled with the TT module, and secondly, you can start or join the event just before your allotted start time. You don't need to sit there right from the beginning of the event. When you sign up to the event using the companion app, it will give you your start time. So for example, Saturday's race is 1:35 p.m. You click on your category to join the race and it will give you a start time. So say your start time is 1:45 p.m. You only need to be in the event prior to that time, not prior to the 1:35 event start time. Does that make sense, or have I just overcomplicated that explanation? And that's basically it. It's very straightforward. You'll sit on a conveyor belt, you'll be moved forward the closer you get to your start time. Zwift gives you a very big clear countdown, boom, off you go, balls to the wall, pedal to the metal, sweat your ass off right to the top of that climb, go and throw up, have a drink, and then laugh about it with your mates afterwards. I think that's all the specifics. The other basic rules as before, all power-ups are allowed, feel free to use them as and when. Be strategic and clever with them. Heart rate monitors are a requirement, but I am aware that these things fail. I'm very aware that these things fail, but as a general rule, heart rate monitors to be worn at all times, please. And I think we're good. I think we're done. I think that's everything. It's pretty straightforward. The main thing, as always, and I bang on about this all the time, but as a group leader, the thing I am most proud of with WKG is the spirit, the good, friendly, competitive nature of it in our individual races and in our league. This league has gathered a reputation for being incredibly competitive, incredibly friendly, incredibly good-spirited. There's no calling out of cheating. There's no bitter losers. It's all done with congratulations to the guy that just beat you by half a second on the line. Great banter before, during and after the race, and just done exactly how a Zwift racing league should be done. That's not to say there aren't others out there. I'm not trying to diminish anybody else's efforts, but just from what I know, we have an incredibly good reputation, received some incredible compliments, and the growth of this league is based on that, how you guys race it. And that is the one key ingredient that I'm absolutely adamant should not be diluted or ignored or belittled. It's the strength of our entire group, let alone just the league. So I'm absolutely sure I don't even need to say it, but please keep that in mind when racing. We're all here for fun. There's no... there will be prizes, by the way. I was just about to say there's no prizes. There will be. There will be prizes for the league winners and these random prizes handed out during the course of the season. But at the end of the day, we're doing it mainly so we can just make fun of each other in a friendly way. And that's what it's all about. So please keep that in mind. I know you will. I don't. Anyway. And that's it. So just to thank everybody that signed up. I cannot believe the scale of this. Last season I promoted this league outside of our group, and unsurprisingly it proved to be very popular. I took the decision not to do that this time because there were some other teams that tried to be sort of kind of disruptive. So I kept the promotion of it well within WKG, expecting the numbers to fall right off, and they just haven't. It's absolutely incredible. We've attracted new riders, we've got the same old faces coming back for more punishment. It couldn't be better. So I'm super excited about this one. I hope you are too. Thank you all so much for signing up, and you managed to complete a 2-part sign up process virtually with no errors at all, which is incredible. So you lot have got slightly more brain cells than I ever gave you credit for. So thank you for that. And that really is it. I wanted to keep this less than like a minute, but that was never going to happen, let's be honest. Right, so that's it. I will see you all in Bologna on Saturday. Bring it on.